Welcome back to Mustache Moto. It's Ben, and today we're going to talk about riding in the rain. If you like doing long road trips and adventures, you need to be prepared to ride in the rain. But even if you don't, even if you only intend to ride when it's nice out, sooner or later you're going to get caught out in the rain. So you need to know how to prepare for that and understand how the bike is going to react because you can do it safely. As a matter of fact, sometimes I go out and ride in the rain when I know it's going to be raining all day. So how do you do that? There's three things you really have to think about. One is your comfort, two is your vision, and three is the traction the bike has. These are the three things that are going to really change depending on the weather conditions. So we're going to go through each of those. We're going to start off with your comfort, and that's staying warm and dry. Now that's really important, one, because you're going to have a miserable time if you're soaking wet. But two, if it's even a little bit cool out, if you get wet, that combined with the wind that's hitting you, you're going to be really damn cold. And you really have a chance of getting hypothermia and getting into a state where you're not being a safe driver if you get too cold. So these are really important. All right, let's start off with what I keep on my bike at all times so that if I get caught in the rain, I'm prepared. Keep it all in a gallon Ziploc bag, so it's pretty compact setup. I've got just a cheap raincoat. It's not breathable. It's just a waterproof raincoat with taped seams. And this is big enough that I can put it over my regular jacket. Now this is good for two things. One, if I'm wearing a mesh jacket, if it's in the summer, I can throw this over the top of that, then I'm waterproof. And two, if it looks like it's gonna be raining all day, if it's gonna keep dumping, like dumping, I'll put this over my main jacket, which is already waterproof. And having those two layers really does a huge service to you in keeping you really dry, because just the motorcycle jacket, sometimes you'll get a little bit of seep around the seams, around your wrists, things like that. This will help you out by having a second layer of protection. Got a pair of just Columbia black, again taped seam, waterproof, not breathable pants. These go over top my whatever I'm wearing, my riding pants, my jeans, whatever I'm in that day. And I'll link to all this stuff below in case you're looking for it. I've got pairs of double XL nitrile gloves. These go over my regular gloves. That keeps them dry on the inside if I'm not wearing waterproof gloves already. Put these on over the top. They'll stay bone dry. These are some of my favorites. This is one of my favorite little tricks. These are stretchy rubber boot covers that actually have little soles on them. They fold up small. They go over whatever shoes or boots I'm wearing. If it's a light rain, I'm wearing my motorcycle boots, they're gonna stay dry. If it's an all-day rain where it's dumping, I'm gonna put these on just to be 100% sure. And if I happen to be wearing non-waterproof boots or shoes, if I'm going to work, something like that, I've always got these got these in the bag to slip on. 15 bucks, you can't go wrong with these. They're amazing. And then finally, I keep in here a pair of, drop one of them. Let's see, they're called sealskins. These are waterproof socks. So if my feet do get wet, my boots get flooded, I can take them off, put these on instead, and then my feet won't get wet. They'll stay dry. So I want to stay dry so I can stay warm and not get, too cold, get hypothermic. So on days that it's really, really cold, or if I know it's going to rain all day long when I head out, here's a couple things I do. One, my jacket is fully waterproof, so I'm wearing that. And then two, I picked up a pair of snowboard pants at Goodwill at the thrift shop. They're about $6. They're fully waterproof. I can put them on over my jeans, over my riding pants, whatever I'm wearing. If I'm going to be riding all day long and I know it's going to be wet and cold, I put these on. I got that extra layer of protection. All right, so another topic of vital importance in the rain is vision. And that's twofold. Can other people see you? And can you see other people? And can you see the road? So other people seeing you got to make sure you've got your lights on. They should be automatic unless you got a really old bike, but make sure all your lights work and that they're bright enough. And then some people wear they'll get a rain suit that's yellow or orange or reflective. I've got a lot of reflectors and reflective tape on my motorcycle, so that helps quite a bit. And you also want to make sure you're riding in positions that you can be seen. Now, if it starts dumping super duper duper hard, that's something I hadn't talked about yet, but then you may want to think about pulling over if you don't feel like your vision is good enough or that people can see you. But make sure if you do that, you get off somewhere protected and you're not just on the side of the road where you could get hit. Hey, I forgot to mention that if there's lightning, you need to get off your motorcycle and find shelter. You are not protected the same way you are when you're in a car. Now, for your vision, one of the biggest things you can do is get what's called a pin lock. It's a visor insert. Most new helmets have pin locks. There's these little nubs on the inside of your visor. And you get this piece of, it's basically like a piece of thin plastic with a rubber or a silicone gasket around it. And it snaps in there, and that forms like a double layer. It's like your double glazed window on your house. And with that double layer, that added insulation and the airspace in between, your visor's not gonna fog up. Really is a huge thing because your fog visor is really frustrating. You got to keep opening and closing your visor and trying to wipe it. You lose vision. It's distracting. You don't want that to happen. So if you can get a pin lock for your helmet, do it. It's $30, really, really well spent. You can see in some of these videos I'm going to show, mine was actually not installed right. It had come loose, so it wasn't sealed at the bottom. And you can see the bottom of my visor actually fogging up in the pictures. It's fixed now. It's not going to happen to me again. All right, the last thing to talk about is traction. Now, I'm going to assume you've got decent tires on your bike and they're not worn until they're bald. If you're that kind of rider, don't go out in the rain. But if you got decent tires, you really don't lose that much traction on the bike when the roads are wet. You really can get out there, still ride safely, and still have fun. Now, a caveat, of course, give yourself a little extra follow room. Dial back just a little bit on the throttle. Don't go crazy, so just bring it back a little bit, rein it in a hair, but otherwise you're going to be safe in almost all instances. And we're going to go out on the bike right now, and I'm going to point out some areas that you got to be super careful because these are spots that you could lose traction. So probably the first thing you want to do if you get caught in the rain or you're going out to ride in the rain is change your ride mode. I'm on road right now. I'm going to switch that to rain. It's going to soften my throttle response, help keep the bike help let the bike be more attuned to any kind of slip or slide. Probably lets the ABS kick in a little bit sooner. It just help out a little bit, and you've got it. Why not use it? Anytime you're in a low traction situation, you got to think about what the tires are doing. And what you don't want to be doing is accelerating, especially not accelerating aggressively, the braking, or leaning. You know, if you're at a homeostasis, if you're at just a normal motion, not accelerating, not braking, not turning, the bike doesn't need much traction at all. So when it needs traction is when you're going to accelerate, when you're going to brake, when you're going to turn. If you see something that's going to reduce your traction when you hit that spot, if the bike's in a neutral position, if you're not doing any of those things, you're not going to have a problem. So what I mean by that is, you know, keep the bike upright, don't be accelerating hard, don't be braking hard. And if it looks like it's a really, really low traction situation, you might want to even pull in the clutch and just coast straight through it, you know, just like that, boom. So if you see something that you're worried is going to make you wipe out, that's all you have to do, and you won't have any problem. So one thing to watch out for, if you're in an area that gets leaves in the fall, the leaves now are pretty much all on the side of the road, but those piles of leaves are going to be super, super slippery, especially when they're wet. So if you were in a turn or braking or accelerating and you hit that, you could very well go down. Any paint on the road, that can be the striping, that could be a crosswalk, it could be the stop bar at when you come up to a stoplight or stop sign. Any of that could be real hazardous. It should be, if it's done properly, it should have grit in the paint when it's applied. That gives it pretty darn good traction, but that can wear out, or it could have been installed wrong, or could have been painted on wrong, so you don't want to take a chance.
One thing to be aware of is the slipperiest time on the road is when it first starts to rain. And that's because any of the oil and drips that have come off of cars, it starts to float to the top when that first rain hits, and it hasn't rained hard enough yet to actually wash it away. So you want to be real careful at the beginning of a rain, and actually the harder it rains, the better off you are with the rain, or with the oils, things like that on the road, because they'll have been washed away at that point. Hey, there's another rain rider. Love it. Okay, we got some railroad tracks up ahead. So those are metal, they can be super slippery in the rain, and what you really want to do is cross them at a 90-degree angle. You want to line up so that you're not off center when you hit them. You want to hit them dead on, because that'll prevent you from sliding as much. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to pull in the clutch and just coast right over them, and then I'm right back on the gas. So taking those inputs out, the bike's straight up, I'm not accelerating, I'm not decelerating. That's going to keep me from sliding. Okay, look here. Can you see how dark it is in the center line there? Let's see if I can come up a little bit more to the side. Look at that oil. So that oil has dripped off of cars from the center, kind of the center of the lane, and that's really dangerous. It can be super, super slick, especially when it first starts raining. So I'm going to stay to the side of the lane when I come closer to stop signs and stoplights especially. Okay, you see these tar snakes, those lines in the road where they put down tar? Those can be super slippery, especially after the rain. This is a fresh section of pavement. If it's really, really fresh, you want to be a little careful, because sometimes a little bit of that oiliness leaches out when it's just been put down. So just be a little bit careful on new pavement. You can see here, see the lines in the road where the tires have been, and it kind of squeegees the water away. If you ride in those, you got even less wet under your tires. So on heavy rains, that can be real helpful. All right, a couple of things here. You know, obviously I'm off to the side a little bit, so I'm not in that center area where there'd be a lot of oil. When I get the green light and go, I want to be careful of a couple of things. I got the stop bar and the crosswalk that are painted, so those could be slippery. And then if you can see it, there's a manhole cover right in my lane. Manhole covers can be really, really treacherous when they're wet. Oh, there's a steel plate in the road. I'm just going to coast over that sucker, because those things can be slippery as glass. Really, really dangerous. Watch out for them. If you can avoid them, even better, but if not, just pull in the clutch and coast.
All right, now you know what to do when you're out riding in the rain, or if you get caught in the rain. I got a suggestion for you, and that is, if you aren't experienced riding in the rain, go out and do it on purpose. On a day that it's raining, on a Saturday when you can go out and ride a little bit in the neighborhood, get on some roads, go do it, get yourself comfortable, figure out what you need to wear, just feel the bike in the rain, get comfortable so you know how to control it, you know you've got the traction you need. That way, when you're out on an adventure and you get stuck in the rain, it's not going to be a big deal. You're going to be comfortable, you're just going to keep on enjoying yourself. You got the knowledge, now get out there and ride.